My name is Shafika Izzati binti Zulkifli, and today me and my friend will present about Region 5, which is South Asia, and I will be the first person that will present about this region. As you can see, this is the world map, and there is the red circle, and that is the South Asia region. Next, we move to the next slide. As you can see, this is the map of South Asia. South Asia is the southern region of Asia, which is defined in both geographical and ethno-cultural terms. The region consists of Afghanistan, Pakistan, India, Bhutan, Bangladesh, Nepal, Sri Lanka, and Maldives. Furthermore, the region is home to 1.5 billion people, a total that may rise to nearly 2 billion by 2025, more than any other world region, and yet this is the smallest world region. Next, we move to 1.0 introduction. In the past, the history of India is interaction with the natural environment, and invading people left the region with the common culture interacting increasingly with global influence, but with uneven political, social, and economic geographies. In general, the material and cultural wealth of the region vied with that of China and later Europe, and physically, the region of India is hemmed in by the northern mountain wall, which been dominated by the great plains of the Indus, Ganges, and Brahmaputra river. However, waves of people enter first through the northern mountain pass to access the rich plain, and later invaders come from the ocean, including the Muslim and the European, and each left its mark on the land, people, and culture. For example, today this region comprising India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and mountain and island rim countries interact with the rest of the world from a base of complex tradition and profound ideas and values. Now, let's continue. As you can see that today India media industry illustrate how people with such Asian culture respond to modern globalization. And by the 1990s, satellite delivery of TV programs enabled the globalizing media molecules to replace the single-channel Indian government program and provide diet of US and Western films, soap operas, and sport, mainly in language spoken by fewer than half the total population. In response, the new India TV station, such as ZTV, brought a mainly Indian emphasis and now provide programs in 15 languages. Besides that, the Indian movie industry, which already produced more film than the US industry, diversified into TV soap operas with India scene. Furthermore, the new range of TV channels are consumerist, focusing on India interest group and especially the large number of young adults. Moreover, one result of the wider media coverage is to encourage a pan-India awareness within an extremely diverse country and an increased confidence in being India in a West-dominated world. Next, I will present about the subtopic, which is climate. Climate in the South Asia can be divided by three, which is monsoon climate, dry climate, and subtropical humid climates. Next, we move to 2.1 monsoon climate. You can also open in the textbook, page 278. The monsoon climatic environment of South Asia brings heavy summer downpour over much of the Indian subcontinent, but little rain at other times of the year. In the winter season of the dry monsoon, the Himalayan mountain cut off South Asia from Central Asia and its freezing air. And it means the temperature above 18 degrees Celsius in every month of the year. However, northern Sri Lanka and southeastern India are the only places that receive rain in winter from 1 that blow from the Bay of Bengal. They become moist by evaporation from the ocean surface and turn toward the land. Besides that, the wet monsoon will break in early June or July. Next, we move to 2.2 dry climate. Dry climate is like a summer, and summer tends to be long and very hot, and is starting from mid-April and peaking in May and early June with high temperature often exceeding 40 degrees Celsius. They also tend to be extremely dry and have a dust storm. Besides that, the monsoon rain meets most of the northwestern part, including Pakistan and Afghanistan, which remain dry throughout the year, forming one of the world's major arid regions, the Thar Desert. The main sources of water in this part of the region is the river, such as the Indus and its tributaries, which are fed in early summer by the melting snow of the Himalayas. As you can see in this slide, this picture shows dry climate in Balochistan, Pakistan. Next, we move to 2.3 subtropical humid climates. A humid subtropical climate is a zone of climate characterized by hot and humid summer and cool to mild winters. However, this climate normally lies on the southern side of all continents and generally between latitude 25 and 35, and are located poleward from adjacent tropical climates. Moreover, most of northern India and much of North India are subject to a humid subtropical climate. Even though they experience hot summer, the temperature during the coldest month may fall as low as 0 degrees Celsius. For example, like Uttar Pradesh and Assam Hills. And if you can see in this slide, the picture shows the place of Assam Hills. Now I will present about 3.0 environmental problem, which is natural hazard and human induced. Now we move to the first environmental problem, which is 3.1 natural hazard. Now we move to 3.1.1 flooding. This is the first natural hazard that I will cover, and you can open the textbook page 281. Flooding is a major problem in the lower Ganges and Brahmaputra valleys, and especially over their combined delta. The peak floods in 1998 and 2007 has affected over 30 million people, and it will be impossible, however, to either move so many people to unfloodable areas or construct effective flood prevention measures. But improved flood preparedness is needed for the vulnerable poor population. Moreover, it has increased the flooding level result from deforestation in the upper reach of the river and their tributaries in India, Nepal, and Tibet. But there is no regional cooperation to reduce this effect. As you can see in this slide, you can see that the pictures show massive flood happen during heavy monsoon in Mumbai, India. Next, we move to 3.1.2 drought. In other parts of South Asia, drought is the main problem, and the availability of water is of crucial significance. The water shortage raises major social issues in both urban and rural areas of India. Even though the urban middle class can install storage tanks against time of shortage, the slum dwellers have to wait in line with buckets, while the village upper caste use a good well. Meanwhile, the untouchable have to find their water elsewhere. And in this picture show, the people have to wait to fill their vessel with water from a water tanker in the Chennai, India. Besides that, the combination of flooding and drought with so many people and strained intergovernmental relations make a regional water plan unlikely, and instead may result in armed conflicts. Next, we move to 3.1.3 global warming. The Maldives Island and Ganges Brahmaputra Delta, which is only a few feet above sea level, will experience flooding by rising of the ocean level as global warming proceeds. The high cost of raising dikes and building sea defense make such measure unlikely. Besides that, there is many low-lying islands have already been flooded in the Sundarbans, displacing thousands of people, and the temperature is rising on the Tibetan Plateau, triggering the retreat of Himalayan glaciers. This is the picture show where is the Ganges Brahmaputra Delta, West Bengal, India. Now we move to 3.2 human in use. Next, we move to 3.2.1 air pollution. You can open the textbook, page 282. Air pollution is making the herbicide and pesticide used in the Green Revolution result in dangerous concentration of chemical factories. For example, in 1984, at the Union Carbide pesticide plant in Bhopal, India, water leaked into a metal isocyanate storage tank, triggering a chemical reaction and a cloud of toxic gas. And it has killed 3,000 people immediately and another 2,000 subsequently in the adjacent slum areas. And the seriously injured number at least 15,000 with long-term effect on eyes, lungs, and immune system, and over 500,000 people qualified for compensation. Besides that, over 20 years after the event, the site now owned by the state of Madhya Pradesh remains highly contaminated, and both site, the state and DAO, deny responsibility for cleaning up the site. Besides that, it has increased the damage of Taj Mahal because of air pollution led to closure of metal workshop in the surrounding area to reduce the sulfur gas that damage marble and limestone. However, it is only possible to take such expensive action on a local scale, and the agglomeration of industrial development north of Mumbai and Delhi produce massive air pollution that destroy farming livelihood and make winter smoke worse. Next, we move to 3.2.2 water pollution. Water pollution. There is nearly 40% of the Indian population live in the middle and lower Ganges River basin. The land is intensively cultivated and there are manufacturers and urban areas. The faithful believe Mother Ganga will preserve them from harm, but health danger from various sources increases. For example, heavily polluted effluent from concentration of leader tanning woods enter the Ganges rivers close to some of the main Hindu ritual bathing sites. And the trash dumping in the Ganges combined with funeral pyres along its bank further worsen the water quality. Moreover, the environmental problem associated with water-based irrigation and hydropower projects occur in both the source and downstream use areas. However, Ganges River floods are reduced, but dry season flow is much lower. In areas using irrigation, poor management results in watering of fields where the terrain or subsurface conditions are unstable. And in this slide, you can see that this is the example of river serve as dumping ground for sewage, solid and liquid waste in Tamil Nadu, India. Next, we move to the 3.2.3 land pollution. Land pollution is in areas where the water irrigation, the poor management result the soil become waterlogged or saline. Besides that, the well already have provide nearly half the irrigation water used and remain the main sources of irrigation growth. And the tube well have been increasing since 1960, and it has lowered their water table, which caused smaller farms to be cut off as they can't afford deep wells. In addition, the accelerated use of chemical fertilizer and biocide in agriculture is the major cause of soil pollution, and biocide first kill germs and unwanted plants and then degrade the quality of soil. As you can see in this slide, this is the waterlogged soil in Rajasthan, India. Now we move to 4.0 History and Culture. For your information, South Asia is one of the regions that have the most diverse culture in the world, and the history of South Asia is marked by attempts to unify the people of the subcontinent and protect them from external invaders. A strong social culture had been developed and it survived many political and economic change, and this is include any cultural difference and gender issue which emerged from religious allegiance that become entrenched in political attitudes. Next is 4.1 Pre-colonial cultures. You can open the textbook page 283. Just to let you know, there are only a little information about the earliest event in the evolution of South Asia societies. The Dravidian people of southern India are thought to be the modern descendant of the old inhabitants of the region, and by 3000 BC, the Dravidians most likely established irrigation farming in the Indus Valley. They left ruins of city and irrigation work, but their written heritage was only a small number of seals which have not been translated. As you can see, this is Asian origin that left by the Dravidians. Next is 4.1.1 Hindu and caste. You can open the textbook page 283 and 284. By 1500 BC, but possibly many years earlier, lighter-skinned and taller Indo-Aryan people invaded through the northwestern parts and drove Dravidians southward into the Indian peninsula. As a result of Aryan influence, Hinduism crystallized in the Indus River Valley around 1200 BC. And the Aryan brought together traditional myths and gods to form Hinduism as an inclusive nationalistic religion based on the Sanskrit Vedas, which rank among the world's greatest religious literature. Other than that, Hinduism can most accurately be described as the religion of the people, and this makes it an ethnic religion that people are born into. As we can see, today nearly all of the world's 800 million Hindus live in India. However, Hinduism is not a centrally organized religion with a single sacred text, but has a series of great traditions as set out by religious experts and later tradition about local gods, belief and practice. Hinduism also can recognize millions of gods, even though local groups often regard one as dominant and incorporates belief of reincarnation. So let's continue. More than 18% of the Indian population is classified as Hindu. Even though many, particularly in rural areas, do not recognize that Hinduism is the title given to their local devotion, it is their way of life. The Hinduism is not totally confined to India. The mission took it to the Southeast Asia 2000 years ago, and the modern Hare Krishna group recruit worldwide. And beside that, the caste remain a complex and unequal set of practice of great significance to Indian people. And even if the caste is a Hindu concept, it may have permeated all South Asia society before the arrival of the Aryan and was adopted by later invading groups. Furthermore, the caste order is similar to ethnic or class division elsewhere, and the Aryan imposed social grouping which is on the top is conquered by the Brahmin, who decide the other groups such as Kshatriyas, which mean the ruler and warriors, while Vaishyas, the commoner, merchants and artisans. And those who are the non-Aryan were the lowest caste and were called Shudras and Dalits. Moreover, the religious base of the major caste division was paralleled by the common interest of group of people who work in similar craft industry of roughly equal status. This economic and social division are thought to have evolved from tribal kinship group into specialist feudal roles. And also the membership become inherited based on the intermarriage within the group's member. In the typical South Asian village of the past, landowners, tillers, carpenters, potters, barbers, priests, and other groups work within local hierarchies for the common goods. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you. We move to the next slide, presented by Adit.
Thank you, Vika, for your nice work. And I'm continuing the presentation. My name is Muhammad Adib bin Muhammad Rozali, and I'm from 24630. As you can see on the slide, 4.1.2 Buddhism and Jainism. Buddhism and Jainism were founded in the Ganges River Valley in the 500s BC in reaction to aspects of Hinduism. Siddhartha Gautama, the Buddha, began life as a Hindu. A major early attraction of his teachings was the rejection of the millions of Hindu gods. Buddha also questioned the rigid caste system in belief in the possibility of greater social mobility. When the Maurya Empire expanded to incorporate most of the Indian subcontinent from 321 to 181 BC. Its most celebrated emperor Asoka adopted Buddhism and propagated to Dharma policy, a code of conduct focusing on social responsibility, human dignity, and social religious harmony. After Asoka's death, a weak successor allowed the empire to fall apart. Brahman Hinduism took over, envisaging a country as a divine creation rather than a Buddhist concept of a contract between ruler and people to control the chaotic and demoralizing effect of mortal possessions. The renewed dominance of Hinduism forced Buddhists to move out the Indian mainland, converting much of Sri Lanka and spreading their faith eastward and northward into Southeast and East Asia. Okay, continue. Jainism followed the non-violent code that was later taken up by Mahatma Gandhi in his early 1900 campaign for India's independence from the British. Jainism is a religion from India that teaches the way to freedom and enjoyment is to live lives of harmlessly. It forbid them to farm and kill worms and insects, which then they became the exclusive group. Many Jainism in the Mumbai area, which consists of wealthy traders. Even Jainism make up a small proportion of the India population today, but it is covered almost 3 million people. Okay, so now let us move to many inventions. Inventions kept historical Indian societies in a state of flux, especially in the northern plain, where a mosaic of distinctive people, landscape, and anarchic government resulted. For example, the short-lived invention by the great under Alexander the Great in 326 BC. At the end of his conquest in Western and Central Asia, left behind military and legal influences. The Gupta Empire from AD 319 to 950 brought peace, economic growth, and the flowering of art, music, and literature. Okay, so now let's talk about Muslims, Mughals, and Sikh. Over the next 600 years, invading Mughal groups, Muslims and Turkey were unable to establish lasting or total rule. After Muslims invaded the north in the 1100, they pushed southward from the Indus to Ganges Plains. However, it was not until the 1500s that the Mughal dynasty extended Muslim belief to the rest of the region. The Mughals were Persian Turks led by Babar, a descendant of the Mughals, and under the Mughals, India experienced developments in such fields as art and architecture. The Taj Mahal and many examples of other Mughal buildings constructed in the 1600. Sikhism emerged in early 1500s as one of the several responses by some Hindus in the Puncak to the Mughal dynasties. The religious movement later struggled absorption into mainline of Hinduism. Sikhism is marked by a strict code of conduct and many temples that have kitchens providing food for all. Guru Arjan Singh in the late 1500s saved scriptures that he compiled in the Golden Temple which he constructed by himself. Although the Sikhs is few in number, many of them become wealthy from their bamboo crops in Puncak. Well, as you can see, these two are the historic buildings, and the left one is Akbar's tomb. It's the tomb of the Mughal Emperor Akbar. The tomb is an important Mughal architectural masterpiece. It was built in 1605 to 1613 by his son Jahangir, and is situated in 119 acres of grounds in Sikandra, a suburb of Agra and Uttar Pradesh, India. Okay, the right one is the Taj Mahal, and it is located at Agra, Uttar Pradesh, India. The Taj Mahal was designated as a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1983 for being the jewel of Muslim art in India and one of the universally admired masterpieces of the world's heritage. It is regarded by many as the best example of Mughal architecture and a symbol of India's rich history. The Taj Mahal attracts 7 to 8 million visitors a year, and in 27 it was declared a winner of the new 7 wonders of the world. Okay, mountain isolation and island opens. Places along the mountainous northern margin of the region, the present countries of Afghanistan, Nepal, and Bhutan, mix isolation with occasional interaction of wider influences. Tribes in the Himalayas established their own ways of living, but Nepal and Bhutan were occasionally invaded from Tibet. The area that is now Afghanistan became a mountain refuge for many ethnic groups. The Pashtuns formed the majority in the southern parts, but Tajiks and Kyrgyz, I'm sorry for my pronunciation, but Tajiks and Kyrgyz people dominated the north. In medieval times, Herat near the present Iranian border was home to a fusion of Buddhist and Persian cultures, the left building and statue. Until the 1980s, the rich cultural heritage from these experiences was on display in the Kabul National Museum. Okay, however, the Soviet military looting and export through Pakistan and vandalism under the Taliban government from 1996 destroyed this collection. Ceylon's closeness to the Indian peninsula and its openness to ocean-borne trade and conquest attracted competing groups. Indo-Aryan people with Buddhist beliefs from the northern India developed a civilization based on irrigated rice agriculture in the north center of the island that lasted from around 100 BC to the AD 1200s. During the later part of the period, Tamils, Dravidian peoples, and southern India established kingdoms in northern Sri Lanka based around Jaffna. As Sami expanded their influence, the majority Sinhalese people drifted southward, abandoning the irrigation system guiding for agriculture. They grew spices such as cinnamon. Arab trade settled in the country and controlled the overseas spice trade. Well, as you can see on the figure 4.1.5, this is the map of the complexity of ethnic groups and their links across the political border is a major factor in the difficulties of governing this country. The small number of border crossings in this mountainous country link some of the groups. Okay, now let us move to colonial impacts. There are 4 impacts. The first one is trading expansion, second one is British Indian Empire, and the third one is Ceylon and the Maldives, and the last one is Afghanistan. So the first one is trading expansion. The great wealth of this region built on internal gem and metal deposits and also on internal trading links to Africa, Arab and Asian lands became a goal of European adventurers in the face of mercantile expansion from the mid to 1400s. Searching for an alternative route to get Indian products and riches to Europe without traveling through the increasingly hostile Muslim countries of southwestern Asia, the Europeans arrived by sea and found few defenses. In 1498, the Portuguese explorer Vasco da Gama reached India after sailing around southernmost Africa. In 1500s, the Portuguese and Dutch established trading stations such as Goa, often based on previous port. In 1100, the Dutch forced the East India Company out of East Indies. The British switched to India, took the Portuguese port of Bombay, built the new port of Madras, and began trading with the most popular area of Bengal around modern Calcutta, become the company's main center. The British East India Company took the Portuguese port of Bombay, built a new port of Madras, and began trading with the most populous area of Bengal around modern. In 1700, political chaos caused by the internal faction in the Mughal Empire splintered South Asia into small and large kingdoms, often ruled by Muslim or Hindu leaders who styled themselves as Maharajas or princes. The French contested British control but were defeated. Over the next 100 years, the British East India Company, backed by the British Indian Army that employed Indians as foot soldiers, increased its hold on South Asia, taking strong position in Bengal and the peninsula. And the last one is many of the company become directors and employees, became extremely rich and owners back in England. As you can see in the figure, this is South Asia, the British Indian Empire just before the independence in 1947 maps. Okay, so now let's go to the second point, British Indian Empire. British Indian Empire number 1. In 1857, the First Independence War led the British government to take full political control of South Asia. British established the British Indian Empire, often referred to as the British Raj. 40% of the area, with almost one-fourth of total population, remained under independent princely family government, who ordered matters in harmony with British policies. The 600 priestly states ranged from hydrated with 14 million people in 1947 to Jahyama with only 200. The British saw their role as civilizing India through Western education, new technology, public works, and a new system of law. However, benefits went both ways. British interests redirected India's farm to produce raw materials for British industries, while the Indian textile industry was suppressed in favor of British cotton goods. The region entered the expanding global economy of the later 1800s, when the export of Indian cotton compensated for negative British trade balance. Furthermore, the British Indian Army became a tool of attempted imperial expansion into Afghanistan and Burma in 1980s and into Tibet in 1903 to 1904. Burma became part of the British Indian Empire in 1985, but Britain established Afghanistan as a separate country. From the 1850s, Nepal had a close relationship with Britain, and many Nepalese served in British Indian Army. Following British attacks in 1800s, Nepal remained independent under pro-British rulers who hired out Gurkha soldiers to the British. Bhutan was annexed by Britain in 1826 and given autonomy in 1907. British imperial rule had massive effects on geography of the peninsula. Okay, it is mercantile economy focused on primary product to export to Europe. British engineers irrigate land in the Indus and upper Gangster River basins to produce cotton for export. Built railroads from the main ports to move troops and eggs. So I think that's all from me for today, and my other two friends are going to continue this presentation. Thank you.
My name is Faisal Hafiz. My student ID 2020 81 42 and 32. First of all, I want to explain about trading expansion. What did colonies in Ceylon and Maldives? Ceylon and Maldives is British colonies also, like India. It's an island and the outermost country in South Asia. Ceylon and the Maldives were also incorporated into the world economic system that focused on the demands of the colonizing country and other wealthier market rather than on local needs. In Ceylon, the Portuguese and Dutch had been the early traders and colonies. At 1795, British took Ceylon, which remained a crown colony until its 1947, and at 4 February 1948, Ceylon declared independence. British companies set up plantations for growing tea, rubber, and coconut instead of traditional spices. Indian Tamil was brought in to work on plantation, increasing local ethnic tension. Better education in Christian school in the north enabled the Tamils to take most of the colonial clerical jobs. A Western educated elite of local plantation owners attempted to emulate the social life of the colonials. The emphasis on export crops, however, was accompanied by the neglect on traditional agriculture, leading to a decline in the rice crop and a need import half the island food need. And then I will explain trading expansion, what happened at Afghanistan. Afghanistan is a Muslim country and they have no sea. At century 18, after a century of attempted dominance over the northwest frontier area of India, after that the British created the country of Afghanistan. The northern border defined at that time established a limit or buffer to Russian expansion. King Abdurrahman, backed by the British money and weapons, tried to create the basis of a centralized Afghanistan. His later attempts to build and unify the new country were often ruthless, resented by the intentionally independent groups and generally unsuccessful. And I will explain about how to the countries of South Asia path to independence. The first are the origins India and Pakistan, and the second of how to Ceylon become a Sri Lanka. The first is the origins of India and Pakistan. The extension of British rule during the late 1800s create an awareness of an emerging national identity across the subcontinent. In 1885, a combination of cultural background and personal interest led a mainly Hindu elite to form the Indian National Congress Party. It had a secular and multicultural basis with the aim of an inclusive India in which Hindus were a majority but coexisted with Muslim, Sikhs, Jains, Buddhists, Christians, Jews, and others. Leaders of the Muslim population, the largest minority, were skeptical of the Congress Party motives. They formed the Muslim League in 1906 with the aim of establishing an organization devoted to promoting Muslim interests in British India. The events of September 11, 2001 and the subsequent attacks of Afghanistan brought to light many linkages of cooperation and conflict across sets of countries. One of these was the long-lasting dispute between India and Pakistan over the Kashmir province at the northern end to their common border. By early 2002, India and Pakistan were drawing military forces to the border and war looked possible. As in its relationship with the former Taliban government in Afghanistan, however, the war on terrorism caused the Pakistan government to hold back and even repudiate groups of Islamic radicals it had supported and trained for many years. The situation along the Indian-Pakistan border remained tense as it had since the partition adopted at independence in 1947. The geographic principles may assist in deeper understanding. First, it is important to know where Kashmir is and how it relates to the surrounding countries. Second, the nature of the countries, including those surrounding India and Pakistan, and of their often conflicting central beliefs and political aims is very significant. Third, the influence of external pressures such as that from the United Nations or from major powers such as the United States, Russia, and China is pertinent. After September 11 and its aftermath, it is increasingly difficult for any country to operate without reference to others, be it Afghanistan, Pakistan, India, or the United States. Like many others throughout the world, the relationship among the countries in this region are complex and contested. It is unlikely that there will be easy solution. In the middle 1800s, the British sold the rulership of the Muslim state of Kashmir to a Hindu Maharaja for around 50 million US dollar, at today's price. In 1947, at independence, Kashmir opted to be part of India. Maharaja avoided joining India or Pakistan, but he accused India in return for military help. Indian Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru, in his eagerness to get popular ratification for the accession, brought Pakistan at 1947 invasion to the notice of the United Nations and urged Pakistanis forced to withdraw until a referendum allowed Kashmir to choose between India and Pakistan. After 1948 ceasefire, Pakistan held onto the one-third it conquered, much of it close to the city of Rawalpindi and later the new capital Islamabad. At that stage, Kashmir main Muslim leader Sheikh Mohammed Abdullah, who became Prime Minister of Kashmir in 1948, preferred India's color socialism to the Muslim ideology of Pakistan. The Pakistanis, however, never withdrew, and Nehru never put the matter to a vote. Maharaja, who handed over control of only defense, foreign affairs, and communication to India, leaving Kashmir with its our Prime Minister until 1965, encouraged local politics. In 1953, allegation that he plotted with Pakistan and the United States earned Sheikh Abdullah 11 years imprisonment. India progressively integrated Kashmir, moving many of its Hindu population to Delhi and setting up with craft industry, employment making rugs, woolen cloths, and decorate plates and selling them in tourist store outlets. In 1964, India extended to Kashmir the right of the federal government to dismiss state government. Each decision, however, seemed to thwart the popular will of Kashmir. India and Pakistan fought over Kashmir in 1965 and 1966 when India accused Pakistan of making insurrection. War broke out again in 1971 when Bangladesh became independent, backed by India. Kashmir was another source of fighting in that war, after which the 1972 Simla Agreement divided Kashmir into the Pakistan state of Kashmir and the Indian state of Jammu and Kashmir. This agreement established today's line of control and the goodwill generated by the first genuinely free Jammu Kashmir election in 1977 that brought back Sheikh Abdullah collapsed with the ousting of his son from power in 1984. Anti-government Muslim groups contested the 1987 state election, but Delhi annulled some of their successes. From 1989, separatist violence that India alleged is backed by Pakistan was matched by India military repression. Pakistan said Kashmir should be ours. India took it unfairly, but India said we assume control of Kashmir after a recase by the Hindu Maharaja following a Pakistan invasion. But Kashmir said we prefer independence to either secular India rule or Islamic Pakistan rule. India and Pakistan said Kashmir independence is not feasible or offered by either countries. And then some Kashmir looked to the United States and its allies as potential saviors that can push India into a settlement. But India and Pakistan are the real arbiters. India shift from inaction for attempts to talk with Pakistan or separatists. Pakistan said in the early 2000s that it would crack down on terrorists, but banned groups such as Lashkar-e-Taiba continue to flourish after merely changing their names, making India skeptical about Pakistan promises. India, however, keeps a security force of 400,000 troops in Kashmir and hopes the crackdown will moderate the militancy. There is speculation that Pakistan will return support to more moderate Kashmiri groups such as Hizbul Mujahideen. Any election or referendum faces major problems. If separatist groups which deeply distrust India participate, they have to declare themselves Indian citizens to qualify to vote. Without the separatists, however, Kashmiri Muslims will mock the result as worthless. The Indian government rejects proposal for foreign election observers or outside mediation as question its authority. This attitude continues a high-handed and superior approach based on the original partition decision, Indian democratic institution, and resistance to terrorist attacks, but avoids discussion of how India has alienated the Kashmiri people. India said Pakistan held on to one-third of Kashmir despite a United Nations ruling that a referendum should decide Kashmir people. But Pakistan claimed India delays a referendum for no good reason except it knows it will lose. It even annulled the 1977 election that would have indicated support for Pakistani control of Kashmir. Kashmir claimed, "We feel that we live in a prison under Indian military guard and do not like the alternative of Pakistan military dictatorship control. If we take part in election, India will declare we are their citizen, and we have little confidence that India will moderate high-handed attitude." And then India claimed the Kashmiris would prefer a democratic constitution and have already experienced good result of India provision. Pakistan said the years of Indian suppression makes the people feel that we are friendlier. And then India claimed after September 11, 2001, Pakistan sent terrorism into India and nearly precipitated war. But Pakistan claimed the government is against terrorism and didn't send those who attacked the India parliament in Delhi. We demonstrated this by withdrawing support for the Afghan Taliban against the wishes of many Pakistanis. And the point two, how to Ceylon becomes Sri Lanka. The majority Buddhists in Ceylon prayed for independence early in the 1900s. Ethnic differences and resentment surfaced before independence in 1948 as Buddhist revivalism among the Sinhalese led the Tamil population to the need to preserve their separate identity, which had been protected in colonial times. Although Ceylon was not partitioned at independence, tensions were increased by the dominance of Sinhalese nationalists in the new government and their change of the country name to Sri Lanka. And the next main point is subregions. Any three topics in subregions in South Asia. Point 1 is India, point 2 Bangladesh and Pakistan, point 3 is mountain and island rim. Start from India. India is the second most population country in the world with predominantly Hindu religion. It's the religion of over 80%. And the majority language in India is Hindi and English. And the second largest country by land area bounded by the Indian Ocean on the south, the Arabian Sea on the southwest, and the Bay of Bengal on the southeast. It shares land borders Pakistan to West China, Nepal and Bhutan to the north, and Bangladesh and Myanmar to the east. In the Indian Ocean, India is the vicinity of Sri Lanka and the Maldives. Its Andaman and Nicobar Island share a maritime border with Thailand and Indonesia. And the three economic activities in India. The first is mining. India is the most mineral rich, especially at Chotanagpur Plateau in the northeastern part of peninsula. India's rock also contain other metals such as copper, gold, and manganese. For each year, India raises its coal mining output to around 200 million tons. India also has a products bauxite, natural gas, and oil. One of the company who produce in India is Coal India Limited or CIL. Coal India, located at Kolkata, West Bengal, India, and founded at 1975. CIL was conferred the Maharatna status by the Union Government of India, making it one of the 7 with that status. This company engaged in coal production company. This company or Coal India contributes around 85% of coal production in India, and also it is the largest company in the world in terms of coal production, and market capitalization stood at uh, 30 billion US dollar, making it India 8th most valuable company. The next of 3 economic activities in India is manufacturing industry. Industrial industry in India is one of the major growth sector for the Indian economy, with diverse companies including thus engaged in manufacturing of machinery and equipment, electrical and metal products, cement, building and constructional material, rubber and plastic products, and automation technology products. One of the company who dominate the sector of manufacturing is Tata Motors Limited. Tata Motors Limited is an Indian multinational automotive manufacturing company founded in 1945 and located at Maharashtra, Mumbai, India. The main product of Tata Motors is automobile, include passenger cars, truck, vans, coach, bus, sport cars, construction equipment, and military vehicles. Additional information about Tata Motors is the Nano is considered the world's cheapest car with a launch price of 1 lakh rupees or around 5,800 ringgit in the year 2008. The third of 3 economic activities in India is service industry. Government employment remains a major source of jobs for a well-educated middle class. India is well supplied with some professionals, from lawyer to accountants and economics. One of the Indian multinational corporation that provides information technology consulting and business process service is Wipro Limited. Wipro Limited, headquartered in Bangalore, Karnataka, India, founded in 29 December 1945 by Mohammed Premji as Western India Palm Refined Oil Limited, later abbreviated to Wipro. Wipro have a product IT service company. In February 2002, Wipro became the first software technology and service company in India to be ISO 14001 certified. In 2012, Wipro Limited demerged its consumer care, lighting, furniture, infrastructure, engineering, hydraulics, and water and medical diagnostic business into a separate company to be named Wipro Enterprise Limited. In July 2020, the firm announced the launch of its 5G Edge services solution suite built with IBM software system. Additional information about Wipro is Azim Premji, the chairman of Wipro Limited, took over the company at the age 21 after the sudden death of his father. Maybe that's enough from me. The next will be explained by my friends.
Thank you, Pisau, for the good explanation. So now it's my turn. My name is Nur Khadijah binti Mahiran. I will explain to you guys from the slide 78 until the last slide, which is slide 1990. So I hope you guys can still focus and continue to listen and explanation from me. Thank you. We move on to the next subtopic, 5.2, which is Bangladesh and Pakistan. So here, these are 2 countries that have in South Asia after India. So Bangladesh and Pakistan share much of the same cultural heritage as the Republic of India and were part of the British Indian Empire until 1947. There were partitions from India at independence on the basis of their Muslim majorities and were part of the single country of Pakistan until 1971. As Pakistan became convinced that the Punjabi military leaders controlling Pakistan were taking East Pakistan resources to benefit West Pakistan, they revolted and with Indian military help established Bangladesh as a separate country. The difference between Bangladesh and Pakistan outweighed the influence of their common Islamic faith. Bangladesh is a secular republic, while the Republic of Pakistan is an Islamic country. So, next slide, we start with Bangladesh first. So, here is a Bangladesh flag, the combination of two colors, red and green. And on the picture on my right, show a map of the country of Bangladesh. So as you can see here, the color area show the area of Bangladesh, which Dhaka as a national capital of Bangladesh, and here there's a few division capital that have in Bangladesh, such as Barisal, Sitat, Mymensingh, and others. So now we move on to the three economics activity in Bangladesh. So the first one is service industry. So what kind of services that have in Bangladesh is a banking service. So the name of company is Grameen Bank that located in Dhaka, Bangladesh. So here you can see on the left side, this is the logo of the company. The tagline here is banking for the poor. And as you can see here, this is a picture of the founder of Grameen Bank, which named Muhammad Yunus. And there's additional information that you know about Grameen Bank, that they lend more than $2 billion to more than 2 million villagers. Most of them are women. The average loan is less than $100. And now I will explain to you guys how the Grameen Bank was established. So Bangladesh was developed the concept of microcredit, making small loans to individuals and groups to enable them to start businesses. The idea began in 1974 when Professor Muhammad Yunus, an economist at Chittagong University, lent $25 of his own money to 42 basket weavers and found they could then pull themselves out of extreme poverty. In 1983, he founded the Grameen Bank. Controversially, women were allowed equal access to the loans, and by 2004, 95% of 3.5 million borrowers were women. Also, co-founding early critic, 99% of the loans are repaid on time. The Grameen Bank also offers 6,000 scholarships each year to encourage children of borrowers to stay in school. Loans are available for income-generating activities such as simple processing like rice husking or lime making, manufacturing, storage, marketing, and transportation. Landless people gain the greatest benefits, and the shift from agricultural labor to self-employment in petty trading brings a feeling of social improvement. A related result has been better employment conditions and wages for agricultural laborers as their number dwindles. Another recent development is the Village Phone project, in which 100,000 women use cell phones to provide telephone services in 90% of Bangladeshi villages. Grameen Bank's positive impact on its poor and family poor borrowers has been documented in many independent studies carried out by external agencies including the World Bank, the International Food Policy Institute (IFPRI), and the Bangladesh Institute of Development Studies (BIDS). However, the commercialization of microfinance has led to controversies where the managers of microfinance institutions in India have been accused of giving their managers big salaries and benefits while defrauding the poor. So here is the second economic activity in Bangladesh,
which is mining industry. So here is the name of the company that produce oil, gas and mineral in Bangladesh. They are located at Kauran Bazar, Dhaka, Bangladesh. Which name Petro Bangla, that was founded in 1985 by merging two government organizations, Bangladesh Oil and Gas Corporation (BOGC) and Bangladesh Mineral Development Corporation (BMEDC). So here is the logo of the company, which the blue and red in the logo signifies the energy emanation from gas and oil, while the overall circle signifies the integration of the whole business. The stylish letters P and B signifies Petro Bangla. So here is the third and the last economic activity in Bangladesh, which is agriculture industry. So agriculture is an important sector of the economy of Bangladesh and one of the main drivers of economic growth. Over 40% of the Bangladeshi labor force is engaged in farming, producing 23.5% of GDP in 2008, down from 50% in 1980. Bangladesh grew over half of the jute that enter world trade. So the product that agriculture industry from Bangladesh produces jute, rice, tea and sugarcane. So here on the left side here, you can see the map showing the growing areas of major agriculture products in Bangladesh. So the crop that is grown from December to January, it's called almond. So see here the white one here, and boro, the orange one. I think the orange one is on in the month of March and is cultivated in May. Similarly, the crop cultivated in July to August is known as oats, which is the yellow one here. So we are moving on to Pakistan. So here is the Pakistan flag. So a white star and crescent on a dark green field with a vertical white streak at the horizon. So here is the map showing the area in Pakistan. As you can see, the color one here, and here is Islamabad, the national capital of Pakistan, and like the red one here, this is the province capital that have in Pakistan. We have Quetta, Karachi, Lahore, Peshawar, and there's a lot of major cities as you can see here in Pakistan. So this is the first economic activity in Pakistan, which is agriculture industry. So in Pakistan in 2010, agriculture employed a similar percentage of the labor force and its product accounted for 22% of GDP. So cotton production in Pakistan is integral to the economic development of the country. Cotton is the chief commercial crop supported by government credit to farmers producing the raw material of the manufacturing sector. So cotton is grown mostly in the two provinces of Puncak and Sindh. So here is the name of the company, Abna Glove Limited. So cotton leaf curl virus, which is a plant pathogenic virus, stunts plant growth, seriously affecting yield. Heavy rains and poor crops in some years have caused farmers to question whether they should grow different crops. The battle between virus-resistant strains of cotton and new virus continues. Other crops such as wheat, rice and sugar continues. Other crops such as wheat, rice and sugarcane are grown as alternatives to cotton. Some farmers are beginning to look to more profitable labor-intensive crops such as vegetables and fruit. So here is a map showing the growing areas of major agriculture products in Pakistan. The second economic activity in Pakistan is manufacturing industry. So Pakistan has a longer experience in manufacturing, which grew to 24% of GDP in 2009. In export, primary product decreased from 48 to 10% of the total between 1975 and the early 2000, while manufactured goods rose from 52 to 89%. Textile manufacture, especially of cotton goods, dominate industry that include food processing, chemical, and car assembly. The vested interest of tractor manufacturers within Pakistan prevented the introduction of cheaper tractors made in Poland and Belarus. So here is the name of company that produce chemicals such as caustic soda, liquid chlorine, chloric acid, and sodium hypochlorite. Here is the logo of the company, which is ICL, stand for Ittihad Chemical Limited, that located in Lahore, Pakistan. So the chairman of the Ittihad Chemical Limited named Muhammad Siddiq Khatri. This is the last economic activity in Pakistan, which is mining industry. So both Bangladesh and Pakistan have reserves of oil and natural gas, although neither exploited them fully until the 1990s because they did not want multinational corporations to carry out exploration and production. So here, as you can see from the logo of the company, the name of the company is Pakistan Petroleum Limited, that produce oil and gas. They are located in Karachi, Sindh Province, Pakistan. So Pakistan Petroleum Limited, Pakistani state-owned petroleum company that was incorporated on 5 June 1950. We move on to the last subtopic, mountain and island rim. So as you can see in the slide, there's a list of countries in mountain and island rim. We divided by two, mountain countries and island rim countries. In mountain countries, we have three, which are Nepal, Bhutan, and Afghanistan, while in island rim country, we have Sri Lanka and Maldives. So in 2010, Afghanistan, Nepal, and Sri Lanka each had 20 until 29 million people, while Bhutan and the Maldives had tiny population of fewer than 1 million people. So we start with mountain countries. So here is the flag of mountain country. We started with Nepal, the middle one is Bhutan, and here is Afghanistan. So we're going to start with Nepal from the mountain countries. Nepal is the only country in the sub-region where nearly 90% of the people are Hindus. It also includes small proportion of Buddhists who have had a major impact on the local character of Hinduism. Nepal has ethnic diversity arising from people moving into the mountainous country from all directions, Tibetans, Indians, and many local hill tribes. So here, showing a map of Nepal. You can see here is the Kathmandu, the capital of Nepal. Next is Bhutan. So maybe some of you are not familiar with Bhutan flag. So you can see here, this is the Bhutan flag. Bhutan is a Lamastic Buddhist country like its neighbor, Tibet, but 35% of its population are Hindus from Nepal and India. The main group of people, the Bhuti, drove out India people in the 800 decade and built impressive fortified monastery in the 1500 decade. So Thimphu is the capital city of Bhutan. So the last one in mountain country is Afghanistan. So here is Afghanistan flag. Afghanistan is 99% of Muslim, which 84% are Sunni and 15% are Shiite. 50% of them speak the main language, and Afghan from are Pashtun dominate the south, while group of Central Asian people such as Tajik and Uzbek inhabit the north. Next, in island rim country, we have Sri Lanka and Maldives. So you can see here the flag of these two countries. Okay, Sri Lanka first. So Sri Lanka has a Buddhist majority, which is dominant Sinhalese speaking group. Nearly 70% of Sri Lankans are Buddhist, 50% Hindus, mainly Tamil, and 8% each Muslim and Christians. So this is a map of Sri Lanka. So Colombo is the capital of Sri Lanka, and there's a lot of district capital, also city or town that have in Sri Lanka, which is the color one is the area of Sri Lanka. Moving on to Maldives. In Maldives, Arab traders established Islam in the 1100 decade. So the island have diversity of Muslim ethnic group from southern India, Sri Lanka, Arabia, and Africa. So this is Mel. Mel is the capital city of Maldives. We go to three economic activity in mountain and island rim country. First, start with agriculture industry. So in Afghanistan, 85% of the people are engaged in agriculture. So the major crop cultivated in Afghanistan are cotton, wheat, livestock, and horticulture, which is fruits and nuts. And the northern region from Dhaka to Badghis and Herat and Helmand province produce cotton. Wheat is common to several regions and makes up 80% of all grain production. In the 1970s, Afghanistan was one of the world's largest exporters of raisins. It is estimated that income from horticulture products is 3 to 7 times higher than from wheat. In Sri Lanka, they also produce tea, rubber, and coconut, and the Maldives, they produce coconut, have commercial plantations that sell cash crops to world market. Second one is service industry. They're more focused in Maldives. So tourism is the largest economic industry in Maldives. The company that handle the tourism industry in Maldives, which named Maldives Association of Travel Agent and Tour Operation, Matato, they are located in Mal City, Maldives. So in the Maldives, tourism increased from a few thousand visitors in 1980 to over 650,000 by the late 2000s. The tourist industry employed over 25% of the working population, up from only 4% of the total labor force in 1985. So the country itself is named after its capital city, which is Male. In fact, the word Maldives means the island dive of Male. So as you can see in the picture, these are few of the popular locations that people always go for holiday, such as Palhu Mafushi Maldives and Ileido Island Maldives. So the last economic activity in mountain and island rim country is manufacturing industry. So the name of the company is Bajra Brick and Tile Industry Private Limited. So here's the logo of the company. That they produce concrete, block, and tiles. They are located in Yatu Mahadev Stan, Bhaktapur, Kathmandu. And the company founded by Bikram Prajapati along with his partner Gokul Prajapati in December 2014.